Kawasaki Heavy Industries. You definitely know the name. For over a century, it's been an absolute titan of Japanese industry. But what happens when a giant like that, built on tradition, is forced to completely reinvent itself to survive? Well, that's exactly what we're breaking down today. One of the most ambitious corporate turnarounds happening anywhere in the world right now. Let's dive in.
So here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll look at the crisis that started it all. Then we'll get into their bold new vision for the future, see how they're actually executing that pivot, check in on the latest progress report, and finally we'll wrap up with the key things you need to know.
All right, so let's set the stage. You know, every big comeback story has that one moment, that wake-up call when you realize the old way just isn't going to cut it anymore. And for Kawasaki, their moment was a big one.
And to really get why what happened next was such a shock, you have to appreciate just how massive Kawasaki is. I mean, for over 125 years, these guys have been building the modern world. We're talking about the Shinkansen bullet trains, gigantic cargo ships, and yeah, of course, those legendary ninja motorcycles. They were the very definition of a rock-solid industrial giant.
And then, this happened. In the fiscal year ending in March of 2021, the giant stumbled hard. They posted a shocking net loss of over 19 billion yen. Now, to put that in perspective, the year before they'd made almost 19 billion in profit. That is a massive 38 billion yen swing. The pandemic, of course, absolutely hammered their aerospace division, but what it really did was expose some deep, underlying vulnerabilities in their whole business model.
So when you get hit with a crisis like that, you can't just tinker around the edges. You need a big, bold response. And Kawasaki's answer wasn't some small adjustment. It was a radical plan to reinvent the entire company, something they called Group Vision 2030.
And what's really fascinating here is the shift in their thinking. They decided, okay, we're not just a company that builds stuff anymore. Instead, they refocused on solving huge, future social problems. They zeroed in on 3 core areas, leveraging their incredible robotics expertise for things like remote work and healthcare, developing next-gen mobility like autonomous vehicles and cargo drones, and the big one, leading the charge on clean energy.
Now, robotics and mobility are huge, don't get me wrong, but the real heart of this transformation, the thing they are betting the entire company on, is hydrogen. And I mean they are going all in. They aren't just dabbling. Their goal is to build the entire global supply chain for it, from start to finish.
And they laid out a really clear roadmap to get there. The first phase was all about proving the technology could actually work, and they nailed that back in 2022 by pulling off the world's very first maritime transport of liquefied hydrogen. Pretty incredible. So now they're in phase 2, scaling everything up and getting it ready for full commercialization by 2030. But look, for a hydrogen society to come